Okay, hey YouTube, my webcam has been acting up. It's randomly skipping in places here as I film on my computer, so hopefully the quality works out okay. And I'll try to keep this a little bit short to prevent any, hopefully, issues being compounded with file size or anything like that. But anyway, I want to real quickly talk about my take on religion and transsexuality. So this is a question I've seen being asked and answered elsewhere. Thought I would like to kind of chime in with my thoughts, because I know some of you users have also asked me in the past. And so it's important, I think, to preface with that. I'm not talking about any particular faith or, denomination of Christianity or anything like that. I'm certainly not talking about any religious text, interpretation, or application of said interpretation. I'm really just talking about belief systems or religion in general. And so, I didn't grow up in a very religious household. I was the most interested in religion of the three of us, me and my two siblings, but, doesn't really say much, because today I don't really ascribe really to any kind of belief system, any specific denomination. I guess I'm technically Lutheran, and I'm okay with that because it works for me. Not Catholic, but not particularly interested in any kind of rules or structure that comes out of religious belief outside of sort of what is my personal faith, because I think that is the valuable kind of takeaway from religion is it's really about you and the belief that you can get through those tough moments. And if you can't, really accepting the fact that it's beyond your control. Because there are outcomes in life that are going to be beyond your control. And to some extent, that's a big part of faith, is accepting this about our humanity, is that there's only so much we can do. But once we start to, accept that, then it becomes a lot easier to focus on what we can control. And once we can do that, this is, I think, when a lot of people have that epiphany, that moment of clarity, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, however the various faiths describe it. But it is now this idea that your purpose becomes much more in focus. It becomes clearer because these distractions aren't as prevalent. And basically, the reward of faith is seeing your faith become actualized in front of you. And while that's the St. Augustine quote, it's really similar to one of the core principles of life coaching, or, the power of positive thinking, is that by looking for the good, by working towards these things, you start to notice the results. Whether that is, you see your faith rewarded, or you see your hard work rewarded, you're building a system for positive reinforcement, iteration, and improvement. And while the religious context uses this sort of system and habit loop a little bit differently than the transitional context, I think it's very helpful, because it is, I think a lot of the rest of religion is sort of, well, how do you more specifically live your life or deal with certain situations? And these are where parables, if interpreted one way, can be very sort of powerful and helpful guiding posts, whether that's the Good Samaritan or, you know, if a thief steals your jacket, give him the shirt off your back. Like, those types of lessons can be helpful, but I think a lot of religion can end up being, you can't do that because of this, and I'm not sure that that is particularly helpful, and it's definitely not helpful when you think about the LGBT context and the trans context within organized religion or the church or whatever. But I do think that if it is faith that what gets you through the day, what, you know, helps you make it till tomorrow, then that's a good thing, and you should rely upon that. If it is something completely secular and your own, like, great, do that too. Neither choice is better than the other. One's not right, one's not wrong. They're just different ways of going through the same type of process, because within a religious context you tend to reflect and say, am I doing things the right way? Am I really giving up control, or, you know, putting in the full effort, or am I blaming, you know, something where it's really, I'm not doing my part, or whatever. Like, it requires introspection, and once you start being honest about yourself, your inventory, you start working towards your goals, you start seeing your goals realized, you continue to iterate and optimize, and now all of a sudden, like, the benefit to religion is creating a sort of industrious, you know, supporting base that supports the church or the structure of religion. Like, obviously it's a system that works. It's worked for thousands of years, and I think that it works in a completely non-religious, secular context as well. So my opinion about religion is it can work depending on how you're applying it, and that it really probably doesn't ultimately matter what faith you take if you're using it as sort of a self-improvement system rather than a set of rigid rules on, you know, what to do in certain different contexts.